The rain-slicked pavement of the Golden Gate Bridge gleamed like a serpent's tongue under the sodium lamps, and I stood there, toes curling over the edge, the bay's black waters churning 100 feet below, whispering my name like a siren's curse. "Jump, Jordan." The wind howled, carrying the echo of Samuel's voice from hours ago. Not his real words, but the ones I'd twisted in my gut after the pack's verdict. Traitor, outcast, the beta who dared love too fiercely in a world that chewed up the weak. My fingers gripped the cold railing, knuckles white as bone, and in that heartbeat, I saw it all flash. Matthew's sneer as he plunged the knife, the alphas turning their backs like I was yesterday's trash, and Samuel's eyes, wide with something I couldn't name, something that might save me or shatter me worse. I didn't jump. Not then. The decision hit like a rogue wave, pulling me back from the brink, because dying felt too easy, too final for a beta like me who'd spent 28 years fighting shadows in this godforsaken American dream of sense and hierarchies. Betas weren't supposed to matter. We were the glue, the unremarkables, the ones who paid bills and mended fences while alphas roared and omegas bloomed. But I'd made myself notorious, hadn't I? In the underbelly of San Francisco's pack districts, where fog clung to secrets like perfume on skin, Jordan Hale was the beta who'd fucked an alpha and lived to regret it. Or so they said. It started 6 months back, in the dim haze of O'Malley's, that dive bar off Haight Street where the air reeked of stale beer and suppressed heats. I'd been nursing a whiskey sour, the ice melting into oblivion like my resolve, when Matthew slid onto the stool beside me. Tall, broad-shouldered, with that alpha swagger that turned heads and twisted knives. Literally, as I'd learn. His scent hit first, cedar and storm, sharp enough to cut through the fog of my own neutral haze. Betas didn't have that punch. We were vanilla to their espresso, reliable but forgettable. "You're Jordan, right?" he'd said, voice like gravel under tires, flashing a grin that promised trouble. I nodded, wary. Word got around fast in our pack. The Bay Runners, a loose affiliation of shifters who'd traded wilderness howls for urban grind. I was the fixer, the one who balanced books for the Alpha Council, kept the peace between hot-blooded enforcers and their Omega mates. Harmless. Until Matthew. We talked for hours that night, or what felt like it in the blur of shots and stolen glances. He was new in town, transferred from a Seattle pack, all charm and edge. "Betas like you," he murmured, leaning in so his breath ghosted my ear. "You see the world clearer than us alphas." No fog of instinct clouding the view. Flattery from an alpha? It was catnip to a guy like me, starved for more than polite nods at pack meetings. By closing time, his hand was on my thigh under the bar, and I was lost. What followed was a whirlwind. Stolen nights in his loft overlooking the bay, where the city's pulse synced with ours. Matthew was fire, dominant, insatiable, marking me with bites that healed too slow for a beta, leaving bruises like badges. He called me his secret, his equal in the chaos, whispering promises between thrusts that love didn't care about dynamics. I believed him, God help me. In a world where alphas claimed omegas as property and betas got pity fucks, this felt like revolution. We were careful, no sense exchanged publicly, no pack whispers, but I dreamed of more. Of standing beside him at council, not in the shadows. Samuel knew, of course. My best friend since we were kids scraping knees in the Presidio playgrounds, back when packs were just family barbecues and not this rigid caste bullshit imported from old world lore. Samuel was an alpha too, but the quiet kind, bookish, with wire-rimmed glasses and a scent like fresh linen and ink. More librarian than lord. We'd bonded over comics and contraband beers, him pulling me out of scrapes, me grounding his rare flares of temper. He was the one constant in my nomadic beta life, the guy who'd crash on my couch after a bad date, dissecting rom-coms until dawn. I told him about Matthew over coffee at Tartine, the morning light slanting through fogged windows like hesitant fingers. He's different, I said, stirring sugar into my latte, heart pounding. Samuel's jaw tightened, his mug pausing mid-air. Jordan, alphas like him. They collect. You're not a trophy. His eyes, that piercing hazel, held mine too long, laced with something unspoken. Worry? Jealousy? I brushed it off, laughing. Come on, Sam. This is real. No heats, no rut, just us. He forced a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. Just be careful. The pack's got eyes everywhere. The betrayal came swift as a bay fog rolling in, thick and suffocating. It was 2 weeks later, at the full moon gathering in Golden Gate Park, under the eucalyptus canopy where alphas postured and omegas preened. Matthew and I had slipped away to the Stowe Lake boathouse, the air humming with cricket song and our ragged breaths. He pinned me against the weathered wood, his knot swelling inside me, growls vibrating through my chest. Mine, he rasped, teeth grazing my shoulder, not a claiming bite, but close enough to send my pulse racing. I arched into him, whispering, always. We didn't hear the footsteps until too late. The door creaked, and there stood Elias, the pack's beta enforcer, my second cousin. For fuck's sake. Phone in hand, flashlight beam slicing the dark like judgment. Smile for the council, he sneered, the click of his camera echoing like a gunshot. By dawn, the video was viral in pack channels. Me, debauched and desperate, nodded to an alpha who wasn't mine by right. The whispers turned to roars. Traitor, seducer, the beta who'd ensnared a pure-blood alpha, tainting bloodlines. Matthew? He denied it all at the emergency conclave in the Presidio's old chapel, that Gothic relic repurposed for pack law. Coerced, he claimed, eyes averted, sent sour with lies. The beta spiked my drink. He's always been ambitious, climbing where he doesn't belong. My stomach hollowed. Coerced? After the nights he'd begged for more, after the poems scrawled on napkins, the council stuffy alphas in tailored suits, reeking of entitlement, ate it up. Banishment, the head alpha decreed, his gavel cracking like bone. And mark him, Notorious, untouchable. Samuel fought for me, voice steady as he stood at the podium. This is bullshit. Jordan's loyal. He saved this pack from audits, from feuds. Matthew's the snake here. Heads turned, murmurs rippling. Samuel's family, old money from the East Bay enclaves, shot him glares that could curdle milk. But he didn't back down, hazel eyes blazing. Test the video. Scent traces don't lie. They did test it, eventually, but by then the damage was done. Matthew's allies, his Seattle imports, had twisted the narrative. I was the predator, the beta with omega delusions, luring alphas to downfall. Friends I'd called brothers ghosted my texts. My landlord, a lowly omega, evicted me with a shrug. Even my sister, Lila, an omega mated to a council lackey, texted, for the family's sake, stay away. I crashed at Samuel's, a cramped Victorian in the Mission District, walls lined with law books and faded band posters. He didn't ask questions that first night, just handed me a beer and let me rage into a pillow until my throat was raw. "They're wrong," he said finally, sitting cross-legged on the floor, our knees brushing. "All of them. You're more than this label they've slapped on you." His scent wrapped around me then, clean and steady, chasing the rot of betrayal. I looked up, tears blurring his face, soft jaw, tousled auburn hair falling over his forehead. "Why are you doing this, Sam? Your rep's taking hits too. Alphas don't befriend notorious betas." He shrugged, a ghost of a smile. "Because fuck reputation. And because," he trailed off, rubbing his neck, Adam's apple bobbing. The air thickened, charged like pre-storm static. I waited, heart thudding, but he changed the subject. "Pizza? Extra pepperoni." My treat. We ordered in, sprawled on his lumpy couch watching old episodes of The West Wing, pretending the world outside wasn't crumbling. But it was. Pack scouts tailed me to my temp gigs, bartending at dive bars, stocking shelves at Whole Foods, whispers following like smoke. "Watch your drink around Hale," they'd mutter, loud enough to sting. Matthew, he was golden, promoted to enforcer, parading a new Omega on his arm at galas I glimpsed from afar, her laughter a dagger twist. Samuel became my anchor, ferrying me to interviews, vouching for my character when bosses balked. Late nights blurred into confessions. His failed dates with polished alpha females his family pushed, my buried crushes on boys in high school who'd called me half-breed for my dynamic. "I always knew I liked guys," I admitted one whiskey-fueled evening, staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin. "But alphas? They're a drug. Dangerous habit," he chuckled, low and warm. "Not all of us." Our eyes met, and there it was again, that pull, electric, unspoken. His hand hovered near mine on the cushion, fingers twitching. I wanted to bridge the gap, taste the possibility, but fear clamped down. What if he pitted me? What if I ruined the one good thing left? The conflict simmered, building like pressure in a fault line. Samuel's invitations to pack fringes, neutral ground bars, underground fights were lifelines, but eyes followed us. "Slumming it, Reyes?" A burly alpha jeered once, clapping Samuel's shoulder too hard. Sam shrugged it off, but I saw the flinch, the way his scent spiked with frustration. Then came the ultimatum. His father, Victor Reyes, silver-haired patriarch of the East Bay dynasty, summoned him to the family estate in Oakland Hills, that sprawling modernist pile with views of the glittering sprawl. I wasn't invited, of course, but Samuel recounted it over takeout pho, steam curling between us like ghosts. Dad laid it out. "Choose, son. The pack or that stain on our name. He means you." Samuel's fork scraped the bowl, eyes distant. "Said Matthew's spinning tales, that you're unstable, a risk to alliances. If I keep this up, no inheritance, no council seat." My chest caved. "Sam, walk away. I won't drag you down." He slammed the bowl down, hazel fire locking on mine. "Drag me? Jordan, you're the only real thing in this farce. The rest, reputations, titles, it's all smoke." He leaned forward, breath mingling with mine, close enough I could map the flecks in his irises. I've been in love with you since we were 16, you idiot. Hiding it because I didn't want to scare you off. But now, fuck hiding." The words hung, heavy as fog. "Love. From Samuel, steady, brilliant Samuel. My notorious beta heart cracked open, spilling what I'd buried deep. I surged forward, crashing our mouths together, tasting salt and spice and home. He groaned, hands fisting my shirt, pulling me onto his lap as the world narrowed to this. His knot pressing insistent against my thigh, my fingers tangling in his hair, scents blending in a symphony that drowned the city noise. We tumbled to his bedroom, shedding clothes like old skins, his button-down whispering to the floor, my jeans kicked aside. He was reverent, mapping my body with lips and tongue, murmuring praises against my collarbone. Beautiful. Mine. No dominance play, no alpha commands, just us, equals in the tangle of sheets. His body arching under mine as I took control, drawing gasps that echoed my name like prayer. After, slick and sated, we lay entwined, his heartbeat syncing with mine. We'll fight this, he whispered into my hair. Together, but the world doesn't yield easy. The first cracks in our fragile peace appeared a week later, subtle as a tremor before the quake. I'd landed a freelance gig, graphic design for a queer-owned cafe in the Castro. Nothing glamorous, but it paid rent on the tiny studio Samuel helped me snag in No Valley. Mornings, we'd wake to espresso and sunlight filtering through bamboo blinds, his arms a warm cage around me, scents lingering like a shared secret. Morning, trouble, he'd murmur, nuzzling my neck, and I'd laugh, swatting him away even as my body arched for more. But outside, the pack's shadow loomed. Anonymous emails flooded my inbox. Stay away from Reyes, or we'll make your video look tame. Vague threats, no sender, but the Cedar Storm tang of Matthew's influence clung to them. Samuel beefed up security, deadbolts, a discreet alarm app, but his jaw clenched tighter each day, the weight of his father's disownment threats pressing like a collar. It escalated at the Harvest Moon Festival in Dolores Park, that sprawling green lung where packs mingled under the guise of community. Booths hawking spiced cider and handmade talismans, air thick with autumn leaves and underlying tensions. Samuel insisted we go, arms slung casual around my shoulders, public claim that turned heads. Let them see, he said, kissing my temple amid the crowd. We're not hiding. I wanted to believe him, but my skin prickled under stares. Then Matthew appeared, weaving through revelers like a shark through shallows, his new Omega mate trailing petite, doit. Her floral sent a deliberate waft in our direction. Jordan, he drawled, stopping short, eyes raking me with false warmth. Heard you're settling. Samuel's charity case now. Samuel stiffened, growl low in his throat. Back off. Hale's not your concern. Matthew's laugh was oil slick. Oh, but he is. Ask your dad about the merger talks East Bay with Seattle. One whiff of scandal, and poof, he snapped his fingers, the Omega giggling on cue. My blood iced. Mergers meant power shifts. Alliances I'd balanced for years now unraveling because of me. We left early, Samuel's grip bruising my waist as we melted into the BART crowd. On the train rattling toward home, he paced the empty car, fury radiating. That bastard. He's poisoning everything. Dad's emails are full of concerns from Seattle contacts. He stopped, cupping my face, thumbs stroking my cheeks. But I choose you. Every time. That night, we made love fierce and slow, reclaiming each other against the earthquake-retrofitted walls, his not locking us as sobs racked me, relief, fear, love tangled indistinguishable. Promise me, I gasped. nails digging crescents into his back. No matter what. Promise, he breathed, sealing it with a bite that marked but didn't claim our Beta-Alpha pact, defying the lore. The real storm broke mid-November, gray skies dumping sheets over the city like divine wrath. I'd been at the cafe, tweaking logos on my laptop, when my phone buzzed. Lila. Emergency. Presidio Chapel. Now. Heart slamming, I bolted, hailing a lift through deluge that turned streets to rivers. The chapel loomed gothic and sodden, gargoyles leering from eaves as I dashed inside. The nave was packed, council elders in damp wool, enforcers hulking like statues, and at the altar, Samuel, bound in silver chains that hummed with suppression runes, face bruised, lips split. Matthew flanked him, smug as sin, while Victor Reyes stood podium proud, gavel in hand. Jordan Hale, Victor intoned, voice booming off stained glass. Charged with corruption, embezzling PAC funds to fund your indiscretions, lies. I'd slaved over those books, spotting discrepancies Matthew himself had planted. I'd confided in Samuel weeks ago, vowing to expose it. Now, here he was, silent, eyes downcast as Elias presented forged ledgers, my signature scrawled in digital mimicry. Betrayal hit like a gut punch. Samuel? My Samuel, who'd sworn forever. His gaze flicked to mine, pleading, broken, and pieces clicked. The late nights he'd claimed were law research, the way his scent had soured around merger talks. Had Victor forced his hand? Or was this his escape? Trading me for legacy? Traitor! The crowd chanted, a low rumble building to thunder. Matthew stepped forward, chains clinking as he dragged Samuel up. Confess, Reyes. Tell them how Hale seduced you too. Plotted to topple the council. Samuel's head snapped up, voice cracking like lightning. No, it's a frame. Matthew's the thief. Not. A backhand from an enforcer silenced him, blood spraying pews. I lunged, but hands clamped my arms, Elias and two others, hauling me forward. Add conspiracy, Victor decreed. Both banished. Or worse. The worse hung unspoken. Execution, old style, for threats to hierarchy. My mind reeled, images flashing. Samuel's laugh in sunlight, his body yielding under mine, promises whispered in dark. All ash now. In the holding cells below, dank stone relics from mission days, we were thrown together, chains linking wrists like perverse lovers. The door slammed, leaving us in lantern flicker, rain drumming overhead like accusations. Why? I whispered, back against cold wall, chains pooling between us. His face crumpled, tears carving paths through grime. Not me, Jordan. Dad. He had me tailed, planted evidence. Said if I didn't recant our affair, he'd expose you fully, ruin any future pack. He crawled closer, chains rattling, forehead pressing to mine. I stalled, gathered proof emails, timestamps. It's in my safe, at home. But they jumped early, relief ward with rage, my fist bunching his shirt. You should have told me. We could have run. And leave you to face this alone? Never. His lips brushed mine, desperate, tasting of copper and salt. I love you. More than blood. More than anything. We clung then, bodies aligning through iron, his free hand tracing my jaw as if memorizing. Outside, voices rose, council deliberating fates. Hours blurred, confession spilling, his boyhood crush, hidden behind bro hugs. my terror of being unlovable, a beta's curse. Dawn crept gray through slits when the door groaned open. Matthew sauntered in, keys jingling, touching. But time's up. He unchained Samuel first, hauling him toward exit. Your dad's mercy. You recant publicly. Hail dies clean. Refuse? Both. Samuel's eyes met mine. Steel hardening hazel. Fuck your mercy. Matthew's fist flew. But Samuel twisted, chains whipping free in a blur. Turns out, he'd palmed a rune key during scuffle. Suppression half broken. Chaos erupted. He tackled Matthew. Enforcers piling in as I scrambled up, grabbing a loose chain like a whip. Fists flew, grunts echoing, my beta agility dodging blows, landing kicks to knees. Samuel roared, alpha strength surging, shattering a lantern in spray of glass and oil. We broke for the nave, enforcers on heels, Victor bellowing orders. Stained glass shattered under stray punches, saints' faces fracturing like our world. I glimpsed Lila in the pews, horror twisting her features. Had she known? Outside, rain lashed like whips, the Presidio's paths mudslick under cypress. Samuel grabbed my hand, pulling me toward his beat-up Civic parked in shadows. Drive! He yelled, tossing keys as he fended off pursuers, Elias lunging, only to eat dirt from Samuel's elbow. Tires spun, gravel flying as we peeled out, sirens wailing distant. The city swallowed us, over the bridge, into the maze of freeways where packs held no sway. Heart hammering, I glanced at him, bloodied but unbroken, grinning feral through the rearview. Free, he rasped, hand squeezing my thigh. For now, but freedom's a fragile thing in a city built on grudges. We ditched the Civic in a Tenderloin alley, trading it for a stolen scooter Samuel hot-wired with practiced fingers. Perks of a misspent youth, he quipped, wind whipping our faces as we zipped toward the underbelly. No plan, just instinct, head for the neutral zones, the liminal spaces where rogue betas and disgraced alphas scraped by. Chinatown Warrens, warehouse raves in Dogpatch. My pulse thrummed with adrenaline's bitter edge, every shadow a pursuer, every horn a howl. By midday, holed up in a flophouse off Folsom, peeling wallpaper, mattress sagging like defeat, we caught our breath. Samuel patched my split knuckle with a pilfered first aid kit, his touch lingering, eyes dark with unspoken storms. We need allies, he said, voice low. Someone outside pack reach. I nodded, mind racing through contacts. Old college buddy Marco, a beta hacker in Oakland, or Tessa, Omega bartender who'd slipped me extras during lean times. But trust was a luxury we'd torched. What about your proof? The safe. His face shadowed. Rated by now. But I emailed backups to a burner. He pulled out his phone, cracked screen flickering as he logged into a ghost account. Files downloaded, ledgers, timestamps, Matthew's sloppy digital footprints linking him to siphoned funds. Tens of thousands funneled to offshore accounts, disguised as relocation costs. Jackpot, I breathed, scrolling. But sending it meant exposure, servers traceable, even encrypted. We leak it anonymously. Cripple him before he circles back. Samuel's grin was wolfish. My hero, he kissed me then, slow and deep, hands roaming under my damp shirt, chasing chill with heat. We made use of the thin wall's illusion of privacy. Body slotting urgent, him above, not teasing but not locking, drawing out gasps until release crashed like waves on Alcatraz rocks. After, tangled in threadbare sheets, He traced patterns on my chest. Whatever comes, we're endgame, but endgames have bosses. Word spread fast in rogue circles, whispers of two fugitives, one notorious beta, one fallen alpha heir. By evening, Marco met us in a dim-dim-sum joint, steam veiling his skeptical squint. Lean and tattooed, with a scent like circuit boards and soy, he slid into our booth uninvited. Heard your pack poison. What's the play? We laid it out, files on a thumb drive, plea for upload to dark web forums, pack-shaming boards. Marco's fingers drummed the table, eyes flicking to Samuel's bruises. Risky. Council's got hackers too. But fuck him. For old times, Jordan. He pocketed the drive, vanishing into the night with a nod. Lay low. I'll ping when it's live. Relief was fleeting. That night, as Samuel slept fitfully beside me, my phone, burner now, buzzed. Unknown number. Lila's voice cracking through static. Jordan? God, where are you? It's bad, they're hunting. Victor's calling blood debt. My gut twisted. Why tell me? You chose them. Silence. Then a sob. I didn't know about the ledgers. Matthew. He's spiraling. Bragged to me about framing you both. Said Samuel would break first. Her breath hitched. I love you, little bro. Get out of the bay. Start over. I hung up, throat tight, staring at Samuel's sleeping form, vulnerable in repose, lashes fanned on cheeks. Betrayal's echo lingered. Was Lila bait? But her words rang true, a lifeline in the murk. Dawn brought Marco's text. Live. Chaos incoming. We tuned into pack streams on a cracked tablet. Council erupting as leaks hit. Matthew's face paling under accusations. Victor's empire teetering. Jubilation surged. But so did the backlash. Bounties posted. Our faces plastered on enforcer alerts. 50 grand for capture, Samuel read, whistling low. We're celebrities, hunted ones. We moved again, crashing with Tessa in her Bernal Heights walk-up. Fairy lights twinkling incongruous against wanted posters we joked about framing. She fed us gumbo and gossip, rogue packs forming in the Sierras, safe havens for the dynamic outcasts. Head east, she urged, pouring absinthe. Or north to Seattle's underground. But together, your legends waiting to happen. Samuel's hand found mine under the table, squeeze promising. But doubt gnawed his alpha pride, chafing at flight, my beta shame, fearing I'd doom him. Late, as Tessa snored in the next room, we slipped to the fire escape, city sprawl glittering below like scattered diamonds. Regrets? I asked, fog curling around us. He pulled me close, back to his chest, chin on my shoulder. Only that I didn't claim you sooner. Properly. His teeth grazed my bonding spot, sending shivers. In Omegaverse lore, alphas marked mates eternal, betas rarely offered, our sense too faint for permanence. But his growl vibrated promise. If we survive, I want that. You, me, against the world. Tears pricked. Sap. But I turned, kissing him under stars smog-veiled, hands exploring with intent, peeling layers until skin met chill air, his body responding with familiar urgency. We moved languid, balcony creaking under rhythm, his knot finally breaching, locking us in euphoric haze as climax built slow, shattering in shared cry muffled against shoulders. Morning shattered idle. Pounding on Tessa's door, enforcer scents seeping through cracks, cedar and gun oil, Matthew's crew. Open up. By council order. Panic flared. Tessa stalled, feigning illness, while Samuel and I bolted rear, fire escape clanging, hearts in throats. Alley chase. Boots splashing puddles, my lungs burning as we dodged dumpsters, Samuel's arm a steel band around my waist. Gunshots cracked, warning, or not. Pinging brick as we vaulted a fence into traffic, horns blaring. We commandeered a delivery van, me at wheel, Samuel shotgun, peeling toward the bridge. Canada? He yelled over engine roar. Too close. Sierras, Marco's contacts. But as the Golden Gate loomed, familiar red spires mocking, a blockade appeared, pack SUVs, lights flashing, Elias at the fore with bullhorn. Surrender, Reyes. Hail's done. Samuel's face hardened. Floor it. I did. Van shuddering as we rammed through, metal screeching, glass spider webbing. Tires screamed onto the span, wind howling through breaches, the bay a yawning maw below. Pursuers tailed, bullets whining past, one grazing my arm, hot sting, blood warm on sleeve. Halfway across, Samuel twisted, firing a scavenged pistol blanks. Distraction only, but it bought seconds. Then, horror. Lila's car, cross-parked blocking lanes, her silhouette waving frantic. Trap? No sacrifice. She mouthed go, then floored toward enforcers, crashing deliberate into Elias's SUV, metal folding in symphony of crunch and shatter. Chaos erupted, pursuit fracturing as packs converged on wreck. Tears blurred my vision, van fishtailing south. She. For us. Samuel's voice broke. Family. We vanished into peninsula sprawl, radio crackling with news. Lila injured but alive, demanding audit. Matthew arrested mid-flight, empire crumbling. Victor's silence damning. But freedom tasted bittersweet, stained with loss. The Sierras rose like jagged teeth against the horizon, pines clawing sky as we ditched the van in a roadside ditch off Highway 50, steam hissing from radiator like dying breath. We'd driven through night, my arm bandaged makeshift with Samuel's shirt tail, pain a dull throb sinking with the engine's falter. Exhaustion clawed, but Rogue Haven beckoned, a loose collective in the Tahoe backwoods, betas and misfit alphas who'd forged a commune from old logging camps, off-grid, lore-free, America's forgotten fringe. Marco's contact, a grizzled Omega named Riley with scars like roadmaps and a scent like pine sap and regret, met us at a trailhead pullout, his Jeep rumbling idling. Heard the broadcast, he grunted, eyeing our dishevelment. Councils in meltdown, your leaks got auditors swarming. But bounties tripled. Climb in. The drive twisted up switchbacks. Fog-shrouded passes where cell signal died and world shrank to gravel crunch and raven calls. Riley's tales filled silence. Haven's code, no hierarchies. Shared labor, love as it lands. Samuel's hand laced mine over the gearshift, thumb circling soothing, but tension hummed, his alpha instincts bristling at dependence, my beta guilt whispering burden. Dusk painted the camp in amber, cabins clustered around a fire pit, solar panels glinting on roofs, air crisp with wood smoke and wild thyme. 24 souls emerged, tattooed enforcers turned carpenters, Omegas herding goats, betas like me tending hydroponics. Introductions blurred, handshakes firm, sense neutral, no judgments on our flight. Our bunk, a loft in the communal longhouse, A-frame beams arching overhead, quilt soft from communal stitches. Alone at last, Samuel drew me down, peeling bandages to inspect the gray's red wheal. No infection. Brave, he murmured, lips following fingers, kisses trailing south. We undressed deliberate, exploring healed marks from chapel brawl. His ribs bruised purple, my knuckles scabbed. His body over mine, slow grind building to frenzy, knots swelling as I clenched around him, cries echoing off wood. Release came tidal, leaving us wrecked, sense mingling permanent in the ether. Sleep claimed us deep, but dawn brought reckoning. Over oatmeal and elk jerky at the mess hall, Riley gathered counsel, not Pack's iron fist, but democratic huddle. Your hot cargo, he said, maps unrolled. Council's rating neutrals soon, flush out sympathizers. Stay, you work, fight if it comes. Or move on. Samuel leaned forward, Hazel steady. We stay. Oh, the leaks fallout help fortify. I nodded, though fear coiled, this idol fragile as mist. Days blurred into rhythm, me sketching defense perimeters, channeling graphic skills to blueprints, Samuel chopping cordwood, his swing cathartic, sweat gleaming on torso. Evenings, stories around fire, tales of exiles, loves lost to lore, resilience forged in flame. But ghosts followed. Nightmares woke me sweating. Matthew's sneer morphing to Victor's gavel, Lila's crash replaying in slow motion. Samuel held me through them, whispers weaving spells. We're here. Real. One such night, vulnerability cracked us open. I failed you, he confessed, voice muffled in my hair. Let Dad's pressure fester. Thought I could fix it quiet, protect you. Fool, I teased, but tears welled. We both hid. Me, from wanting this, I gestured us, entwined. An alpha, truly. Thought betas got scraps. His laugh rumbled. Scraps? Your feast. He shifted, pinning me playful, but heat ignited, kisses turning nips, hands roaming possessive. We moved urgent, him taking me against the wall, legs wrapped his waist, not locking deep as thrusts built crescendo. Climax shattered us, aftershocks rippling long. Bonds deepened, but so did threats. Scouts reported, council patrols probing foothills, drones humming borders. Riley's network buzzed, alliances fraying, neutrals folding under bounty lure. Then, the letter, slipped under our door, wax sealed with Rhea's crest. Samuel's hands shook tearing it open. Son, enough. Return. Hail's amnesty if you renounce. Family heals. V. Bait. Obvious. But Samuel's face grayed, old wounds reopening. He thinks he can buy me back. After everything, rage simmered my blood. Burn it. But doubt seeded, his legacy, the pull of blood. That afternoon, as thunderheads brewed, I found him at the overlook, staring valleys where rivers snaked silver. Talk, I said, settling beside, our shoulders brushing. He exhaled ragged. Part of me misses it. The power, the certainty. Alpha life, it's drilled deep. His eyes met mine. Raw. But you're the certainty now. Still, if I claimed you, bond us proper, it'd tie me irrevocable. No half measures. My breath caught. Claiming, eternal mark, sense fusing, fates linked beyond death. Rare for betas, risky, our muted pheromones often rejected the bite. leaving scar without seal. But possibility thrilled, terrifying. Then do it, I whispered, tilting neck. If you want. He searched my face, then surged, mouth crashing mine, teeth grazing pulse, drawing gasp. Not here, though we retreated to loft, storm breaking outside as tension coiled. Candles flickered, shadows dancing as he laid me out, worshipping with tongue and fingers, building ache exquisite. When he rose over me, eyes locked, I nodded. The bite came swift, fangs piercing, venom flooding like liquid fire, pleasure pain lancing through veins. I cried out, arching, as his knot breached simultaneous, locking us in ecstasy's vice. World whited, bonds snapping taut, his thoughts brushing mine, love pure and fierce. Healed, the mark throbbed rose gold, our scents now hybrid linen cedar laced with my subtle earth. Claimed. Equals. Euphoria lasted days, touches electric, dreams shared. But climax loomed. Scouts radioed. Raid imminent. Council strike team inbound. Matthew leading from custody shadows. Haven mobilized. Barricades rising. Weapons cached, hunting rifles. Improvised Molotovs. Night before assault. Fire circle solemn. Riley toasted. To the misfits. We hold or we fall. Together. Samuel and I stood hand-clasped. Mark visible. Drawing nods, symbol of defiance. Sleep evaded. We lay whispering futures. Road trips cross-country. Maybe a cabin of our own in the Rockies. Kids? He mused, hands splaying my belly absurd. I snorted. Beta pipes. Remember, but pups. Adopted. Someday. His kiss sealed it. Dawn broke crimson. The attack hit at first light. Choppers thumping air. Enforcers rappelling like specters. Tear gas canisters hissing. Chaos. Gunfire cracking pines. Screams mingling with bird flights. Samuel and I manned the east flank. Rifles barking. Me picking off drones with steady aim. Him a whirlwind of claw and fist when lines breached. Matthew found us mid-fray, bursting from underbrush. Eyes wild, free on some technicality. Reyes, he bellowed, charging. You could have been king. Samuel met him head-on. Bodies colliding thunderous, alpha brawl. Brutal and primeval, rolling in duff. Covered, shots scattering his backups. Heart in mouth as fists flew. Blood spraying. Climax. Matthew pinned Samuel. Chokehold tightening. Sneer victorious. For the beta whore. Rage ignited. I lunged. Rifle but cracking his skull. Crunch sickening. Him slumping limp. Samuel gasped free. Coughing. Pulling me down in mud. My hero. But victory Pyrrhic, haven burning. Riley fallen. Half our number down or fled. As choppers retreated. Tails between legs. We surveyed wreckage. Smoke curling acrid. Bodies still. Human cost. Lila's crash replayed in every casualty. Worth it? I asked. Voice hollow. As we bandaged wounds by dying fire. Samuel's arm tightened. Survival is. But his eyes shadowed. Alpha's burden. Lives on ledger. We buried the dead at dusk. Simple rites under stars. Words of remembrance. Earth heaped gentle. Riley's marker. Free as the wind. As shovels bit soil. Samuel leaned to me. We go now. East, Chicago. Maybe. Start clean. I nodded. Mark pulsing affirmation. But as we packed the Jeep, A figure emerged from Treeline. Victor, alone, suit rumpled, face haggard. Son. Samuel froze, rifle half-raised. It's over, Dad. Victor's gaze flicked to my neck. The claim, blatant. Pain flickered. I was wrong. Lila's testimony sealed it. Matthew's trial tomorrow. Counsel's reforming. Dynamics optional. He extended a hand. Not weapon, but olive branch. Come home. Both of you. Temptation ward, legacy, healing. Samuel looked to me, question silent. My heart ached, but truth burned. Home wasn't place, but person. We're good, I said soft. But thanks for her. Victor nodded, defeat etching lines. Be safe. He turned, vanishing into dusk like fog. We drove into night, Sierra's fading rear view, road unspooling promise. Interstate 80 stretched east like a vein pulsing toward Heartland. Mile markers ticking healing as California shrank to memory. The Jeep rumbled faithful, stuffed with scavenged gear, tents, and goods. Riley's old acoustic guitar slung backseat. Samuel drove first shift, my head on his thigh, Mark thrumming sync with engine hum. We'd claimed each other fully now. Sense intertwined so passers by wrinkled noses at the odd couple. Beta Earth woven with alpha calm, a signature uniquely ours. Stops blurred. Roadside diners in Reno, where truckers shot wary glances but served pie a la mode without comment. Motels in Elko, neon buzzing as we fucked against bathroom sinks. Laughter echoing off tile. Mr. and Mr. Helriz? The clerk had asked, winking at our linked rings. Silver bands bought impulse in a Tahoe pawnshop. Engraved defied. We'd grinned, honeymooners in exile. But undercurrent tugged. News radio crackled updates. Council purge. Victor testifying against holdouts. Lila hailed reluctant hero with a cast and media glare. She asks for you, a smuggled message from Tessa read. Forgive? I did, in quiet moments staring great basin voids, whispering thanks to wind. Samuel's silences grew, though jaw tight at will, eyes distant on prairie's unfolding gold. One Wyoming dusk, as thunderheads boiled, oppressed. Talk, cowboy. He pulled over at a rest stop, vast sky swallowing us. Guilt, he admitted, killing engine. The haven. Those lives. My blood started it, Dad's empire. I cupped his face, thumbs tracing stubble. And ended it. You chose love over legacy. That's redemption. His laugh bitter. Love. Yeah, but he kissed me fierce, pulling me across console into lap. Awkward, heated, windows fogging as hands fumbled zippers. We rutted desperate, his not catching on gear shift, gasps mingling with rain patter on roof. After, slick and spent, he rested forehead to mine. You're my north, Jordan. Always. Chicago welcomed gray and gritty, Windy City pulse a bomb after wilderness. We crashed with Samuel's distant cousin, a beta academic at U of C, oblivious to lore, offering his attic during research sabbatical. Gigs fell quick. Me freelancing logos for Lakeview queer bars. Sense of deep dish and diversity chasing ghosts. Samuel clerking at a vinyl shop in Wicker Park, charming hipsters with jazz recs. His law dreams shelved gentle. Life normalized. Tentative, Sundays at Boys Town brunches. Mimosas fizzing as we people watched couples of all dynamics. No stares. Nights, we cooked, his paella clashing my chili. Laughter seasoning. Intimacy evolved. Lazy mornings with him inside me, slow rocks building to shudders, or me topping his submission gift, growls turning pleas. Yet, fracture loomed. A letter arrived, forwarded from the bay. Lila's handwriting, looping elegant. Bro, Council's new charter. Dynamics advisory, not law. Dad stepping down. Mentoring rejects. Miss you. Visit, L. Samuel read over my shoulder, stiffening. Trap or olive branch? I folded it careful. We could go back. Prove it's changed. His eyes stormed. And risk you? After all. Debate simmered weeks. Pros of roots. Cons of chains. Culminated one blizzard night. Snow muffling streets as we walked Michigan Avenue. Lights twinkling on iced Magnificent Mile. I want normal, he confessed, breath clouding. Pups. House. PDA bullshit. But not if it costs us. I stopped, pulling him into alcove, away from bundled crowds. Then we build it here. Or anywhere. But together. Resolution sparked heat. Against granite wall. Coats tenting. We kissed ravenous. Fingers delving. Friction through wool until peaks crested muffled. Together, he echoed, nipping my mark. Spring bloomed tentative, tulips in Grant Park. Our first anniversary marked with rooftop picnic. Skyline aglow. But past circled. Victor called. Voice tinny over burner. Proud of you, son. The claim. Bold. Pause heavy. Lila's wedding soon. Stand up guy. Beta like you. Come. Samuel's grip whitened on phone. We'll think. Hung up. He paced our studio, now ours. Lease in both names. It's real reform. But, I prompted, heart clenching. Fear. Of losing this. He gestured us. The life we'd stitched from tatters. We flew west. Decision gut-wrought. Test waters. Not dive. SFO's fog embraced familiar. Cab whisking to East Bay Estate, now minus guards. Gates ajar. Lila greeted on porch. Crutches ditched. Hug bone-crushing. You came. Inside. Victor waited, aged. Suit looser. I soft. Jordan. Hand extended. Clasp firm. No sense of dominance. Just man. Dinner unfolded awkward then easing. Stories swapped. Laughs tentative. Lila's fiancé. Theo. Lanky beta with a grin like mine. Charmed with puns. Victor shared council reforms. Dynamics demoted to cultural note. After, Samuel and I slipped to the garden. Stars pricking velvet sky. Feels possible, he murmured, arm around me. Yeah, but as we swayed, slow dance to imagine tune, doubt whispered, could we bridge? Wedding week blurred joy, rehearsals in Napa vineyards, Lila radiant in lace, Theo's vows cracking us up. Samuel stood best man. Speech heartfelt, family isn't blood, it's choice. Eyes met mine across aisle, promise renewed. But climax crested eve of, Matthew, escaped custody, cornered us in vineyard shadows, gaunt, feral, pistol trembling. You ruined me, he snarled, barrel trained on Samuel. For him, time slowed. Samuel stepped forward, hands up. It's over, Matt. Let it go. Rage twisted his face. Never. Finger whitened trigger. Instinct surged, I tackled. Beta speed a blur. Grappling for gun. Shots cracked, wild. one grazing Samuel's shoulder, crimson blooming. Matthew bucked, but Samuel joined, wrenching weapon free, pinning him as vineyard hands swarmed, alerted by noise. Cops hauled him away, curses fading. Medics patched Samuel superficial, Lila fussing maternal. Victor clapped my back later. Hero again. Not hero, I demurred. Just love. Wedding dawned golden. Lila and Theo exchanging rings under arbor. Cheers rippling. Samuel and I sat entwined, his wound bandaged beneath tucks, our marks hidden but felt. As sun dipped, casting long shadows, he leaned close. Home, I nodded, tears pricking. Wherever you are. Epilogue whispered in return flight. Chicago base. But Bay visits, -life. Bridging worlds. Pups. Adoption papers started. Dreams solidifying. Betrayal's scar faded. Reputation rebuilt not in titles. But touch, his hand in mine. Sense eternal. In America's vast tapestry, we were thread. Notorious no more. Just us. Loved beyond measure.